Folks, hello. At the end of last year, I visited Taiwan to see firsthand how it feels about its place in the world. After all, Xi Jinping has made no secret of his plan to take back the island democracy. I flew out to the Kinmen Islands, which lie just a few kilometres from the Chinese mainland. It's an eerie kind of place, with relics of past wars still scattered along its beaches. Those steel spikes there driven into the sand to ward off any adversary. If China does launch a full-scale assault, these islands would be the first to fall. But on the main island of Taiwan, I was surprised to find that people carry on as normal, despite near daily acts of grey warfare. The people are used to it, having spent so long in the status quo. But in the back of everyone's mind is a knowing that at some point a day will come when Chinese forces will begin the take-back, just as it did in Hong Kong. This was part of my conversation with Foreign Minister Joseph Wu that all forms part of a documentary that we've done called Are We Ready for War?
We are concerned that China might feel that they are confident enough to use military force against Taiwan without too much opposition. And if they have that kind of confidence, they may attack Taiwan at any time.
Foreign Minister Wu believes an invasion will come, likely in 2027, when Xi Jinping begins an unprecedented fourth term, which would also mark the 100th anniversary of the People's Liberation Army. And what better way to celebrate an army than by using it for an invasion? Taiwan can't defend itself on its own. It's too small. So the question then is, who comes to help Taiwan? Joe Biden has said a few times the US would help. Here is former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta.
Well, President Biden has made very clear that the United States would in fact move to defend Taiwan and deploy our military forces into Taiwan in order to protect them. I think that pretty much makes clear that the United States will in fact go to war if necessary in order to protect Taiwan.
Our system of alliances means here in Australia we'd be called in, but in what capacity is unclear. Entry into any war comes at a cost.
If Australia was to get involved in any potential war here in Taiwan, would we then potentially get attacked from Chinese forces?
China won't be able to attack Australia unless they have Taiwan. That's for sure. But once Taiwan is done, Australia could be the next target.
In a worst-case scenario, who else joins the fight? Well, anyone who fears an expansionist China, the US, UK, Australia, South Korea, India, Indonesia, perhaps. We're talking World War III stuff if all these players get involved, which you would hope gives Xi Jinping some second thoughts. Japan is so concerned that its defence spend has surged to become the world's third largest behind the US and China, despite polls that claim its public has no interest in going to war.
It is natural for Japanese people to be awakened to the new security reality facing us.
Do you think they are awake?
They are, yes. That is why, this idea, new national security, policy strategy is strongly supported. This is an unprecedented development in Japanese national defense strategy.
Skeptics here in Australia point to an apparent cooling of dialogue that's come from Beijing recently. Xi Jinping has made grave errors with his economy by pursuing COVID-0, so he's changed his diplomatic approach. I spoke to the late Senator Jim Molan in what turned out to be his final interview. He didn't buy the change of heart, not for a second.
Jim, there's been a recent shift in tone coming from China. Do you truly believe that the relationship is thawing?
No, I don't believe the relationship is thawing because the issues for China are far, far bigger than a simple relationship with Australia.
And from one former Major General to another, this was the retired Mick Ryan's take.
We face a range of cyber, economic, informational, political, diplomatic and military challenges with the coercion of the Chinese Communist Party that are well beyond anything we've seen before. It is a national challenge, not just a military one.
If war did happen in this region, the losses would be catastrophic. Trade blockages would disrupt the world again and our fuel shortages would be dangerously exposed. No one wants any of that. which is why governments speak often of deterrence. The trouble is, China is not behaving that way, not when it sends balloons into the air to spy on other countries. Thanks for watching. To support this channel, please like, share and subscribe below, and I'll see you next week.